Hi, my name is Khleif, and I'm the host of the Lifetime Cash Flow Through Real Estate Investing podcast. And every week I interview multifamily rock stars, and we talk about how they've built incredible wealth for themselves and their families through multifamily properties. So hit the like and subscribe buttons to get notified every Monday when a new episode comes out. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Multifamily Rockstar. So as you guys know, this is where we interview people that are crushing it in this business, and we show you the inside scoop as to how multifamily investors are creating massive success, not just in their businesses, but also in their lives. And as always, I've got my co-host, who's Mark Nagy. He's the director of our massive action team for our Warrior Group on as well.
Hey, Rod. Happy to be here. I think we're going to give some good gold nuggets today that we don't usually talk about on the podcast, with some unique experience that our guest has.
Absolutely, no question. So our guest today is Jason Martins. He is a certified property manager, also a warrior, but he's got that CPM designation, which you have to go to school for. He's got 17 years in the business and owns a property management company. Has been managing for a very long time. Also has purchased 161 units since joining, some as an LP, I'm sorry, let me be clear, 88 as a general partner, 11 as joint ventures. He's joint ventured with other warriors, and just started a podcast. Let me give him a shout out on his podcast. It's called Landlord to Long-Term Wealth, and I think you've said you've only done 2 episodes. You'll have to get my butt on there and see if I can add some value. I'd love to try to help you if I can. All right. Love it. Love it. Well, listen, welcome to the show, brother.
I appreciate it. It's really an honor to be on your show. Thank you.
That's kind of you to say that. So listen, why don't you take a minute and give a much better background than I just did on who you are, where you came from, and kind of bring us current.
Sure. My name is Jason Martins. Again, I'm a certified property manager. I was born and raised in Rhode Island. And right in the middle of COVID, actually, I moved to Florida. So I live right outside of the Orlando area. And I actually operate my property management business from 1,500 miles away. So I actually still have it operating in Rhode Island. I live in Orlando, and I'm running the business from 1,500 miles away. So it's really something that I'm kind of proud of, how we're running that. But I started off wanting to get into multifamily or get into rental property. I didn't quite know how to do that. So I got a job working for a property management company. I did that for a number of years, and eventually transitioned into starting my own property management company. But there was always still, I needed to get into multifamily. And how do I do that? And then finally, December 2021, when you had your Orlando boot camp here, I was encouraged by a friend and business partner. I don't know if you mind if I name him, but it's Frank Padalano.
No, oh, yeah, Frank's awesome. Awesome. Yeah, awesome.
So he encouraged me to attend, and it was just like mind blown, lights turned on. It's like, oh, this is it. This is exactly what I'm looking for. And I signed up. We signed up together, and it's been, all awesome since then.
The rest is history. Mm-hmm. Love it. Well, that's fantastic. And so you've been in this business a very long time. I know that you're working to put together a business model to show people how they can manage remotely like you're doing, which is fantastic. I'm assuming you use technology and things like that to help facilitate that. So we can drill down on that a little bit, but let's start with that first deal, that 88 unit that you took down together. Where was it located? And talk a little bit about some of the detail there.
Sure. It's 88 units in Wichita Falls, Texas. Okay. And I was invited to the GP team because the part of that, the original GP team, the people who found it, invited me to be a limited partner in another deal that they have in the same area. So when they invited me to invest in that deal, I said, okay, listen, but I really want to get into being a GP. If I invest, can you show me the ropes? Show me how it works being a GP. I'd love to sit down in your meetings. And I already knew a warrior who was part of the deal, so he was welcome to let me do that. So the 88 unit deal came up, and sure enough, they invited me. And of course, I have property management background, so I was like, yeah, I have, I'm an asset manager. I'm a valuable member of this team.
Sure.
Well, I quickly learned that there's really more to it, that you need to bring a little bit more to the table than just asset management, which is valuable. Don't get me wrong, and I'm proud that I have that. But there's more to it. And there was, capital raising was really the other side of it that I had never done before. wasn't really prepared, and I was nervous as all heck about that part of it. But I can talk more about that if you want.
How much did you raise? How much did you raise?
So I ended up raising $850,000.
Fantastic, man. That's fantastic on your first deal. Good for you. And
the first time.
And of course, that's not all you did. You played a much heavier role in the deal, which is very important, guys. You cannot just raise capital, and all my warriors know that. So you're involved in the asset management, probably involved earlier on as well. So that's all good. But let's talk about that equity raising for a minute, because that's, in fact, by the way, I'm not sure when this airs. I'm doing a masterclass on raising capital April 28th and 29th. I'll make sure this airs before then. So if you're not already registered for it, register. It's on rodslinks.com, and it's going to be it's a Friday and Saturday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. And it's actually what I just taught at my last Warrior event. I had almost 300 Warriors here in Sarasota a couple of months ago. And this is what I taught, same PowerPoint, everything. So it's not like I'm going to tease you some stuff or try to sell you some crap. No, this is teaching you how to raise capital. So don't miss it. Again, rodslinks.com. It's 2 days. And I think we're hosting it on my Facebook. I'm not sure, but you can go there and you have to register, actually. We've already got hundreds of people registered. But let's talk about how you did it. So what did you do to raise the money, Jason?
Yeah, so this was interesting, right? I was super nervous. I didn't really want to ask people for money. And I'll talk a little bit more about that part of it too, the whole mindset of it. But what I decided to do was, wait a minute, I'm a small landlord. I own small rental property, but I want to be in multifamily. So that must mean that there are other people who own smaller properties that also want to invest in multifamily. So I had an avatar. So the light clicked on. I said, wait a minute, I have an avatar here. I know a target audience of people in my world that I can approach about it. And that's exactly what I did. The first thing I did was I started reaching out to my property management customers.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, are they going to want to do this? They even have money, whatever. And they went bananas. Every single one of them was on board to do it. Now, not all of them had the money, cash, liquid, in the bank. Some of them had to do some refinance. He said, hey, I'm going to do it, but give me some time, this and that. There was some nuance in there, but they were all gangbusters to do it. Why? Because they knew me. They obviously like me, right? And they trust me with their own rental property. So I already had that established relationship with them. And they knew that I was a person they could trust. They could see that I'm also investing in these bigger properties. So if he's doing it, I trust him, then I'm doing it too. And so
listen, I want to hammer something home you just said, buddy. And that is, guys, what he did was brilliant, because the most successful people in this business determine what their avatar should be. Like, I've got people on my CRE Capital team. One is from the State Department. He's going after State Department employees. If you're in the medical trades, maybe you go after doctors or healthcare professionals. If you're in IT, you go after people in the IT space. So the fact that you were smart enough to identify an avatar and go after that avatar, my hat's off to you, brother. So that's fantastic. Yeah. So please continue. Please continue with that, or maybe you were finished.
Yeah. No. That was it. I went after them, and they were all for it. And again, there was the know, like, and trust thing that we hear a lot about, and that was part of it. But I sort of feel like I kind of stumbled upon it because I didn't really know who else to approach. And I said, well, these people know me. Maybe I can approach them. And they were. So how are you going to identify others? Because I think that's brilliant. I think you should hit them all. Yeah. So you're going to go in the county records. You're going to pull lists. You're going to get phone numbers, and you're going to ping them. Yeah. Yeah. So obviously that motivated me. Right now, I said, okay, wait a minute, I'm onto something here. So that actually encouraged me to start the podcast. So look at the name of my podcast and what's it called? Right. It's called Landlording to Long-Term Wealth, right? So that's exactly who I'm going after. That's exactly who my podcast I'm going to interview is landlords who are now investing in long-term multifamily deals. I'm going to target them nationwide, and I'm going to host Zoom calls, trainings, everything, and all types of social media, advertising. That's my avatar. I know that group of people. I know the lingo. I know what they want.
So
I have
just the
experience in
small
business.
operators, right? It's the guys that have
Yes.
anything from duplexes to a 10 unit or 20 unit or something.
Exactly.
That's the crowd you're going after. Love
Exactly.
it. Love it.
I think
Love it.
everybody who has an avatar, those people in your world, they're looking for someone that is their essential passport to multifamily or to investing in that deal. So essentially, that's what I became for all these small time landlords. And I don't mean that in a derogatory term, obviously, but I became their window to the multifamily world. So anyone in whatever your avatar is, like you mentioned, military or nurses, become that window to the multifamily investing world for people in that avatar. That was the aha moment for me when I started raising capital.
Nice.
Such a good mindset shift, especially because so many people do think what you said, which is, well, how can I raise money, or why would people give money to me? Well, just ask yourself that question. Why do you want to invest in multifamily? So I thought that was a really good tip. And I know you mentioned one thing there, managing people and working with others remotely. I know you mentioned that's what you do in your property management experience. And I think there maybe could be some good gold nuggets in there just for multifamily investors that may want to do deals remotely, build teams, et cetera. What are some of those systems, processes, things that you have in place to manage a lot of this stuff in your business remotely?
Yeah. Great.
Yeah. So obviously technology is the major factor there, right? So you have to have really good property management software. I use a company called Appfolio, and I don't get paid to market them or anything, but that's who I use. I love their service. I love their product. So that allows me to communicate, create service orders. They have 24/7 maintenance answering. There's just so much involved with Appfolio in particular, but there are other quality brands out there. So technology is the big thing.
Okay, hold on. You said 24/7 maintenance servicing. You mean on their software or relating to questions around maintenance?
No, correct. So if a tenant creates a work order, Appfolio has a 24/7 answering service where they will take the call, schedule it for you, notify you, let the vendors know everything for you.
I did not know that. That is very powerful. I just learned something myself. That's interesting. Now I know that one of our third-party property management companies uses Appfolio. The other one doesn't on the two that I'm thinking of, but no, that's awesome. So let me ask you this. I'm sorry, please continue. So you started with Appfolio. Any other resources and strategies around, managing long distance like that?
Yeah, well, understand that I started in Rhode Island, so I have a really solid network of vendors there. Vendors are contractors, right? Like subcontractors, electricians, HVAC people. I have a really solid network there, and I have good boots on the ground. So that part of it automatically gets put into the system. Also, communication with the team, right? So we use WhatsApp, and the reason why is just because it's really easy to use, and we just like the features of it. So we use WhatsApp to communicate on a daily basis. I was letting the team know what the agenda is for the day, and they send videos to us of work that was done. I upload that to Appfolio, to the work orders, things like that. So that's a big part of it, is the communication. But you have to have some boots in the ground. So fortunately, I have family there that work for me. So that's my boots in the ground there. Now, it doesn't have to be a family, right? Maybe you have another warrior in another market, or a friend who lives in a certain market that wants to help you, right? But the bottom line is to have boots on the ground, and you really need to know what you're doing. If a maintenance person sends you a video of a floor that's torn up, well, you need to know what the answer is. You can't just be sitting there guessing and allowing maintenance people to make decisions for you, right? So you still sort of have to be on top of them, but at least I can do it remotely thanks to the help of technology.
I know we give away, and Rod, you give away what questions to ask property managers when you're interviewing property managers to the warriors, obviously. But Jason, what do you think are some things that people should look out for when interviewing property managers to distinguish the good ones from the bad ones? Because obviously there are many property management companies out there in popular markets that you might want to look at.
Yeah, so I'm a certified property manager, right? So obviously I'm educated. So to me, that is critical. whenever you're hiring a property management company is, do they have ongoing training for their staff? Is senior manager level or ownership level, are they involved in property management organizations? Like the CPM designation comes from the Institute of Real Estate Management, but there are many others, CCIM, BOMA, all these other groups. So education to me is critical. And then, the other thing too that I look for in a property management company are values. Like, do you value the tenant? Like, do you care that if they have a quality place to live, if they're proud of where they live? Or are you just, trying to make every penny you can out of the place and, we'll move on to the next tenant. So values to me are very important. I actually care about the tenants. I want them to have a nice place to live. I want them to say that I provide for them a nice place to live. And so that's important to me. So I would say make sure that whatever company is involved in some sort of continuing education for the property managers and maintenance techs too as well, and leasing agents. And also that their values align with what you think is important in an apartment complex and running a property management company.
Yeah, no, that's good stuff. And guys, I have a book that I wrote on this, how to hire a third-party property management company. If you go to rodslinks.com, rods plural, linksplural.com. It's in the free book section, and I think it's probably the best resource in the business on that topic. It's pretty extraordinary, and what you just said is a critical piece. Do they treat their residents like residents, or do they treat them like tenants? And I don't mean that in a really derogatory way, but do they treat them like they care about them? Because your biggest expense is turnover, and so anything you can do to mitigate turnover and keep that resident happy is critically important. So let me just say this, if you're considering possibly getting some guidance in this business so that you can experience the life you're wanting this year rather than later, or, maybe you just thought you could become more effective with things like property management, for example, like we're talking here, text the word crush to 72345 to see if the Warrior program, might be able to help you overcome any challenges that or even perceived challenges that you may have towards this business, so that, you can accomplish what you want with lifetime cash flow. And, that's how you apply. You text the word crush to 72345. Has it been a good experience for you?
Oh, absolutely. It's really changed my life for the better, obviously. I've learned so much. I've come so far in really a short period of time. And the connections and the network and the quality of people that are in the Warrior group is outstanding. And because, we talked about trust, didn't we? And, obviously you vet everybody, but still everyone that I've met and worked with in the Warrior group has somehow added value to my business. And I hope that I've added value to them as well. And I love being in the group. I'm so proud of it.
No, thank you for that. And that's really one of the things I'm most proud of, is it's almost got a life of its own now. And it's extraordinary. I appreciate that.
What are some of the qualities that you look for in partners for these deals? Obviously, I know you mentioned Frank, and I know we had him on the podcast a little while back as well. What are some of the qualities that you want your business partners to have in multifamily that you're looking for?
Well, I have certain goals in my life, and I want to create long-term wealth for myself and my family. So I typically will think more in terms of long-term when it comes to real estate. I know a lot of operators will, get a property up and running, raise up the value, and then unload it and go to the next one. And that's great. It's an awesome business model. I used to flip houses, so I totally get it. But I think I'm at the stage in my life where I'm preparing more for long-term sustained cash flow and wealth from myself, my family, my extended family. I'm really doing this for not just my wife and my kids, but my sister-in-law, my brothers and sisters. I'm doing it for a lot of people. So that's important to me. So I really want to align with other warriors and other partners who also have similar goals in what their plans are for the property. If they're saying, hey, we can get out of this in 3 years, okay, that's cool, but oh man, I really wish I could have held on to this a little bit longer and saved it for my family. So that's something that I'm looking for. And of course, the values that we talked about earlier in terms of property management. Do they respect the residents at the building? Do they care for them? Do they want to have a quality product and have a product that the tenants are proud to call home? So that's important to me as well. So I think those are the two major things that I look for is, are their goals, business goals and personal goals aligned with mine? And do they value the residents and other people and just in general?
It's really good stuff. But I'm gonna enhance what you just said as well. Just like I enhance the property management. I also have a book that has all the questions you should ask before you get into a partnership, and it is also in the free books in rodslinks.com. In fact, I got to remember to confirm it's there. I'm pretty sure it's there. I know the property management one is there. I will confirm the partner book is there as well. Well, by the time this airs, it'll definitely be there because I'll make sure. Anyway, because, a partnership like a marriage is easy to get into, but hard to get out of. And so you've got to ask all those tough questions up front. And, a lot of people get caught up in the excitement of it and the emotion of it and neglect important questions they should ask. And, I've seen some very large partnerships completely derail and have to be dissolved, like thousands of units, 5, 6, 7,000 units. And it's no fun. It's like a divorce. And so, very, very important that you ask those questions up front. So the next question I've got for you, Jason, is what are some words of wisdom that you would share with aspiring multifamily investors? People that are sitting on the sidelines where you were prior to, going to my boot camp, for example. What juice might you give them?
Yeah, it's a great question. And it's really something that I thought a lot about. And why am I getting into this? What am I trying to accomplish here? I just didn't want to be going on a day-to-day basis, mindlessly and aimlessly, not knowing why am I doing what I'm doing today, right? So I thought a lot about that. And then I realized that what I really need to do is set an end goal. Okay, so what is my goal? What do I want to accomplish? So is it a number of doors? Do I want to say, well, I own 2,000 apartments? Or, do I want to have X amount of dollars in cash flow per month, right? So once I realized that, that's what I did. So I set a dollar amount. I knew how much I needed to have invested in multifamily that would provide enough cash flow for myself and my family for a long time. So I set that goal. And then what I did was I just worked backwards. I said, okay, well, how do I get to that goal? And eventually I get to today. And what steps can I take today that will help me get to the goal? And a step is like, it's a small thing. Like a step can be just reading a book or watching one of Khleif's videos or podcasts, listen to a podcast. It can be anything, but you need to take a step every day towards achieving that goal. And so that would be my biggest piece of advice is know what you want to achieve and then work backwards from there. How long is it going to take you to get there? And what can you do today to start working towards that goal? I think that's the most important thing is just that
break it down by years, by months, by weeks, by days. You
yes.
just chunk it way down. Love it, man. Great advice.
Yes.
I'd love to ask you something before we kind of end here, and this is even on my mind, and I think could be some good practical knowledge for the people listening that maybe don't have the experience. What do you think are some good tips in terms of property management that you've seen or maybe you've done that can add value to a property? Because obviously a lot of people are thinking, okay, I go in, I rehab the units, I bump rents, et cetera. But there are different property management companies that charge different percentages of fees, less turnover, et cetera. What are some of those things that you see as a property manager that are going to add value long-term to these deals?
In terms of the larger multifamily deals?
Yes.
Yeah, well, you have to have an open mind. You have to be able to recognize opportunity. Right. I think like in a lot of southern states where maybe there's hail or strong, the sun is hot, you want to look, maybe you can install carports. Is there laundry on site? Okay, that's great. If not, can you add it? Is there laundry in the units? Okay, if not, can you add it? Because now you can get a real bump in your rent if you can add laundry into the units. Are people do they have pets in the units and they're not telling you about it? Well, bingo, you should be charging a pet fee. So I just think you just need to have an open mind about, opportunity and be looking for things all the time. And where can you find these little opportunities to add revenue to the bottom line, because you'd be surprised, the smallest increase, like a $25 increase for pet fee multiplied over 100 or 200 units. I mean, that does incredible things for your NOI and the value of your property.
I'll give you an example. This triggered a memory. We had a manager at our Sedona asset in San Antonio, 296 unit asset, did a fire inspection, and she found 60 pets that we didn't know about. I think it was 60. I'm fairly certain it was. And so they had to pay our $20 a month pet fee. And at that time, it was like a $600,000-$700,000 increase in value, just like that. We did the parking numbers. The same asset did numbered parking spaces. Park in front of your unit, $25 a month to have your own spot. 100 people took us up on that. That was an $800,000 increase in value. These are little numbers that just are incredibly powerful. So I just wanted to give examples of the great advice that you just gave there. So for speaking of advice, what's some of the best advice you've ever received in life? It doesn't even have to just be multifamily. What's some of the best advice you've ever received?
Some of the best advice I've ever received was at some point, and I can't even really pinpoint when this was, but actually, you know what? I do know when it was. So my father was always sort of an entrepreneur, and I knew that was in my blood, and that was something that I want to do. I never really liked trading my personal time for money. And I have a funny story about that, but I was working at a job and sitting behind a glass wall. And I said to someone working next to me, I said, "Hey, what does this look like? We can't leave here. We're stuck behind this wall. They tell us when to come in, when to come out. What is this like?" He goes, "This looks like jail." I said, "You're right, it does." And so I quit that job immediately. And that was in, 04, maybe 03. I quit that job. And that's when I said, I'm getting into real estate. This is what I'm going to do. So, and so that's what I did. I had that entrepreneurial spirit, because, you're never going to get rich working at a job or trading your time for money. If you really want to, gain a lot of wealth in your life and add quality to your life, you really sort of need to go out there and take chances and take action. And for me, it was multifamily real estate, and that was my goal. And
push through fear. Yes.
Yes. Big time.
And so this is the last question. How did you get over the fear, for example, of raising money for that first deal? Because I'm sure you had to commit to something, and you're like, okay, yeah, I can raise this. And then you're like, holy shit, did I really just say that? How did you get past the fear of that? I'm sure that's kind of along the lines of what happened. Yes. Is that right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. How did I get over it? I think for me personally, when I'm held accountable to other people and other people are counting on me, I don't really have a choice. I really can't let fear stop me. These people are counting on me, and I cannot let them down because I'm scared. Yeah. I mean, that's not you're never going to make it. So I said, I have to do something here, and I'm going to do it with confidence because I have no other choice. What is my other choice? So that's the approach I took. I said, you know what? These people are counting on me. I'm going forward. I'm going to do this. And I did. I went in with confidence. And I think that confidence kind of came through while I was talking to the potential investors.
Well, see, I was going to say that probably was a tipping point for you, because when investors feel that confidence, they need to feel that to rely on you and to have faith in you. So that the fact that you made that decision mentally to proceed with confidence is huge.
And Rod, it's easy to have confidence if you believe in the product that you're offering, right? In the deal, if you believe in your team, and if you believe in yourself and what you're offering, it's easy to have confidence. You're not really, and you're not asking them for anything. You are offering them an opportunity to invest with you. And so just once you kind of have that mindset shift, it's a really game changer. I think so. You effectively used accountability to get past any fear that you had. And people use different things. Some people it's like massive freaking action. Action mitigates fear. For others, it's fear of failing. So there's different things, different tools that people will use to push through fear. And those of you listening, you got to figure out what your catalyst is going to be. What are you going to use to push past the fear? Maybe it's goals. Go to Rod's links and do my goal setting workshop, because you got to create that burning desire. That also is super important to help mitigate the fear and push
push through those fear and limiting beliefs. So, but you got to figure out what it's going to be for you so that you take action. You don't miss out on these incredible opportunities that are here right now.
And I wanted to interject a quick, easy tool for that everybody can use, by the way. And Jason touched on it, which I don't even know if he knew that he touched on it, which is if you have a fear for something, you should always ask yourself, what fear or what's the downside if I don't do this? And Jason mentioned this because he said, hey, I'm accountable to my family, my kids, etc. And if you don't do that, maybe you're not able to do things for your wife, your kids, etc. And for most people, the fear of not doing something is going to outweigh the fear of doing something, and that will help you overcome that. And so next time you have a fear, just ask yourself, what is the fear going to look like in 5 years or 10 years if I don't do this? And which one is heavier?
Yep. Yeah,
Yes.
that's actually part of my goal setting process as well. I have you put the pain in there if you don't do it. So it's thank you for reminding us that, that how important that is. Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, that's critical because people will do more to avoid pain than gain pleasure. So exactly. I'm really glad you brought it up.
Rod, can I add one more tip to that if you don't mind?
Please.
This is what I tell a lot of people that I talk to is this is about fear and regret. So close your eyes, and put yourself 10 years in the future. And now think about, I did nothing over the last 10 years. And how does that make you feel? Okay, now open your eyes. Guess what? You're 10 years in the past and you have a chance to start over.
Oh, I like it.
Start over right now. This is your chance now. You just went to the future and you didn't do it. You have a second opportunity.
Love it, guys. Every one of you listening should do that. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show, brother. It's great to see you again, and we'll see you soon, my friend. Appreciate you coming on. Nice work. So one other quick thing. We encounter so many people that are frankly frustrated. They're looking in the mirror and they're frustrated that they haven't been able to escape the rat race. They haven't been able to build cash flow to the point where they're able to have financial and time freedom with their families. And maybe they see other people buying real estate and creating, incredible cash flow. And they think, well, it's just scary. Buying apartments is intimidating. And I get it. See, that's why we created our Warrior Mentorship Program. They're our coaching students and they've had extraordinary results. My students, I've been teaching about 5 years and they own upwards of 140,000 units now that we know of, right? And we feel like it's just getting going. Now we're looking to grow this group and really take it to the next level. And honestly believe that the greatest transfer of wealth could be upon us right now with this current economic environment. Everything's going on sale. So we're looking for people who want to follow a proven framework, really like a blueprint or a map, literally step by step. And then they're able to leverage our systems and our incredible network to raise money and equity, to find deals and close those deals and build partnerships really nationwide. So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become more in our incredible network and take advantage of the unbelievable opportunities that are upon us, you can apply to my Warrior Mentorship Program by texting the word CRUSH to 72345, or you can go to mentorwithrod.com. And what we'll do is we'll set up a call so you can check us out and we can check you out and see if it's a fit. Now, again, you can go to mentorwithrod.com or text the word CRUSH to 72345 to apply, and we will speak soon.